Today's video is going to be a little different. I have a unique spin on the topic of success and growth primarily. Now, historically, we have been told for ages, for centuries, that confidence, certainty, clarity, motivation, self-esteem, all these are necessary for us to grow. There is a lot of content on this, and I have created multiple videos on this channel. All that is true. All these things are necessary, but it turns out that in order to reach the top 5% or top 2% of whatever your definition of success is in terms of money, wealth, fulfillment, joy, all that, the top 2 or 5%, whatever, because there is no specific number to that, the way the top percentage people deal with discomfort, that differentiates them from the rest. So what it means is you could have all the confidence, all the clarity, all the motivation, all the inspiration, but still you cannot reach the top 5% because you don't know how to deal with discomfort the way they do. That's the difference. So what I want to do is I'm going to spend a few minutes on the video and talk about how you can take any discomfort you got growing or you have got going. I'm hoping it's not growing, but whatever you are going through, and turn that around and reframe it into growth. So you have discomfort, you reframe to growth. That's the idea of behind this video. I show up here every day at this point, and this channel is about self-improvement, personal development. We talk about entrepreneurship, some psychology, and my idea is very simple. I show up here to express. I'm not here to impress you by any which means. I'm not saying my videos are the best. I'm not saying my content is outstanding and you can't find better information anywhere else. None of those claims hold true anymore. I never held on to those claims before, or never had those claims back in the day. And now with AI, everybody owns everything, practically speaking. So I own your brain, you own my brain. That's how it is. That's where we are going with all this. So why is it difficult for the top 95% people to get into the top 5%? And again, as I said, it's the way they reframe discomfort into growth. Okay, so why is it difficult for the 95%? Well, it's difficult because fundamentally we are not wired. We are not wired for growth. Humans, we are wired for survival. So we want to take certainty and safety over growth. If I want to be certain and safe, I would choose that. I don't want to go after growth. And there are numerous studies done. People will hang on to whatever they have, despite of the promise, despite of the guarantees that if they will just let go a little bit, then they're going to get a lot more on the other side, because they have not seen the other side and they are not sure how to deal with that promise and that certainty, or they will not trust that possibility, so they will hang on to whatever they have. Okay, numerous studies done on this. Okay, so we are not wired. So what do we do? How do we get to the top 5% or top 2%? Well, the bottom line rule is this: you got to reframe discomfort. Okay, reframe discomfort. Why? Because discomfort triggers the amygdala area of the brain, which is fight or flight. Now, once you reframe, now you are now shifting the brain to the prefrontal cortex, and that is where the creativity, that's where the logic and reasoning exists. That's where that part of the brain where it happens. Now, I studied this. I could be wrong, but more or less, I could be off by maybe 30%, but more or less I got those things covered. At least that's the. But you let me know if I'm wrong on this. Every time I create anything within the space of when I touch the subject of brain, my daughter comes back, watches these videos, and says, "Listen, Dad, you're wrong." Okay. And she has no filters when she says that, because she's doing her undergrad in cognitive science. So she studies brain like 24 hours a day. Okay, so how do you reframe? How do you shift this? Well, very simple. When you are feeling anxious, you say, well, I'm anxious. That's the thought that's going in. You want to pause and say, my brain is telling me I'm growing. My brain is telling me I'm growing. Now, let me ask you this. At wherever you work or people whom you work with, have you seen people who are very successful because they're anxious? My father was one among them, exceptionally successful in his career, but always anxious for work, constantly thinking, oh, what's going on? He was in police, so he always processed the cases, always processed the law, always was thinking. So always was anxious about the case, about the evidence, all that stuff. So you might have met a lot of people who are very successful and they're anxious. Well, it's not a good position to be in. I wouldn't go where my dad went, but or the way he lived. The brain, you eventually get exhausted and then you'll give up. So there's no point in going there. So what do? We start stacking small wins. Okay, we want to lead with evidence, and when evidence is there, anxiousness goes away, and you have better response. You have a better understanding. Obviously, the prefrontal cortex is kicking in, and you're using logic and reasoning rather than getting worried about what do I do, right? So you stack small wins. So you always, whatever you do, you check for micro proof. Something is working. For if the overall thing is not working, let's say you do a project. Let's say you do something project or some assignment or whatever. You could be wrong. Project fails, whatever. But there is something that might have worked, and that's the evidence you want. There's a concept called self-efficacy in psychology, and what it means is confidence from the past is the evidence. So the more evidence you create, the chances are you're going to, the more you have the ability to turn the discomfort into growth. Okay. If I have to rephrase the word growth, the way I would do it is, growth is discomfort by design. And discomfort is the price you pay for admission. You have to become uncomfortable, and you engineer the discomfort, and that's when you start getting closer to those top 5 or 2%. My idea is you get into the top 2%. That's why I created this video. Okay. Anyway, if I have to share the ultimate secret about how to I have everything going, I have I work hard, I have all my values and beliefs in place, I'm diligent, I have the cadence, and people say that, and I go there and I say, okay, how do you deal with discomfort, right? So there are so many things in their life that are perfectly aligned and happening, and that is why they're able to keep their confidence, their clarity, their motivation going. Any of these variables change, suddenly they're not anymore on the track. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Hopefully this is helpful. This was a random thought, random idea. Hopefully it's helpful. If it is, do me a favor, drop me a comment here. If you like this video, then I can reach some more people. And I show up here every day, as I said very early on this video. I show up every day. I show up like this, and my idea is to get you, kind of help you wherever you are and get you to wherever you want to go. That's the idea behind this. I have to simplify. Every time I say that, I have a different sentence on each and every video, but you get the point. You get the idea. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and wherever you are, you be safe, and I'll be with you as early as tomorrow. Okay, bye now.